Jules and guys. So get my Christmas lights up. So today I'm gonna be talking about mental illness in adolescents, which is children to young adults, if you do not know that. I'm gonna start off like I did last time with some statistics that I have found. I went on to the National Institute for Mental Illness, otherwise known as NIH. As a psychology major, I go to that site often when I am researching something, or if I just want to know something about a mental disorder or anything psychology related. So I went there, and on that site I researched mental disorders in children and young adults. And I'm reading, if you're wondering why I'm looking down. According to the National Institute for Mental Illness, mental disorders are common among children, and of course it is very difficult for them. It's kind of an obvious, but they put that, and their caregivers. Also, according to them, 20% of, which is 1 in 5 of children currently or at some point have had a seriously debilitating mental disorder. Kids 8 to 15, that's the age range for these percentages. 8.5% have or are currently are suffering from ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactive disorder. It's hard to say. And also that, of course, can just be ADD, which is attention deficit disorder without the hyperactive part. Then 3.7% have or are currently suffering from some kind of mood disorder, and 2.7% have or currently are suffering from major depressive disorder, which I talked about in my last video, is the disorder that I currently am dealing with. That study was done way back in 2009. I didn't get time to look up what current percentages are, but I am sure that they are much, much higher than they were in 2009. I kind of wonder if the ADHD could be a cause of other or a mixture of other disorders, because as I will bring up in a minute, bipolar disorder, one of the symptoms of that is hyperactive. And so I'm not saying that it is, because I'm not a doctor, but I kind of wonder if that could be a sign of another disorder, possibly like bipolar disorder. I'm just going to go over what a couple of common mood disorders are, because they brought that up, but a lot of people might not know what different types of mood disorders are. Obviously, depression is a major and common mood disorder, especially major depressive disorder. Bipolar disorder is also, those are the two most common mood disorders. Then there is also persistent depressive disorder. This one's gonna be hard for me to say. It's spelled CyclothymiA. I don't think I can pronounce that on camera. It is a form of mild bipolar disorder. And then there's seasonal affective disorder, which is pretty much what the name says. It's a form of depression depending on the season. So like I have a little bit of this with my major depressive disorder. So like in winter I have a harder time than I do in like the spring and the summer. So there's that one. And then there's another hard one to say. Dysthymia, DysthymiA. So those are the most common mood disorders. I didn't find those on one specific site. I just looked up most common mood disorders on Google. I found out that today 20% of our population in the US reports at least one symptom, a depressive symptom in a given month, and 12% report 2 or more depressive symptoms in a year. And 10 to 20% of the population of the US suffers from SAD, otherwise known as seasonal affective disorder. I'm also going to talk about anxiety today. I feel I've done some research and I feel that anxiety and major depressive disorder are two of the most common and I would say most debilitating disorders that adolescents tend to have. Sometimes disorders can be diagnosed incorrectly. So sometimes you can be diagnosed with one thing and years later find out you actually have another thing. But I don't know what it is about this time right now. It's probably not one specific thing, but a lot of, especially young adults like me, from I would say 17 to 30, are experiencing a lot of depression and anxiety. I suffer from anxiety disorders. I have a panic disorder. Actually, I was in Walmart the other day getting some decorations and I almost had a panic attack because there were so many people in there. Actually, last year around Christmas, I actually did have a panic attack in Walmart, and I had to leave the store and go outside. Panic disorders and anxiety disorders, I don't feel like they get talked about very often because it seems like a lot of people just think that you are just freaking out for no reason, and it might seem like no reason to you, but even if it's even if it seems silly to be freaking out about, it's not silly to the person who is experiencing it. I have problems with claustrophobia as well, and a lot of people think it's weird that I have to sit in a certain spot at a restaurant, or I can't sit too close to somebody, or there's all sorts of things, and they think that that's weird, but for me it actually makes me very uncomfortable, and I don't want to have a panic attack because someone doesn't understand what I'm going through. So I just do what I need to do to not have panic attacks. But it's kind of hard to explain, but I think anxiety disorder and panic disorder really needs to be looked into more, and people need to be a little bit more understanding about it, because it is very serious. One of my favorite YouTubers here on YouTube, Zoella, I've been watching her since I was probably 15 years old, and this sounds silly to say, but she has really, I've never met her, I wish I could. Shout out to you, Zoe, if you happen to be watching this, doubt it. But she is probably one of the people who have inspired me the most to talk about my mental disorders and to want to help other people who are going through the same thing, which is why I decided to become a therapist myself. And I specifically want to help adolescents, children to young adults, because I know what they're going through. And if I can help someone at a younger age, then, and they don't have to grow up to go through what I have gone through, or what many of my friends and family and acquaintances have gone through, then that would be amazing to me. I said that I think anxiety disorder and panic disorder need to be looked into more, but I really think that all mental disorders need to be looked into more, and they especially need to be taken more seriously, not just by doctors and researchers, but by normal everyday people as well, because at the end of the day, we're all normal everyday people, no matter what career we have or who we are. And it saddens me that people make mental disorders a shameful thing. Yeah, they're not a good thing to have or to experience, but that doesn't mean that the person that has it should feel ashamed. that they have it or that they are talking about it. Talking about it is one of the number one things that help the person going through it get through it and heal. So I would just really love to see other people stop shaming people with mental disorders or any kind of disorder, mental, which mental disorders are medical disorders. It's in our brains. But I would really love to see that stop happening, because it's not shameful to have a chemical imbalance in your brain. You didn't do that. You didn't want for it, so you should not feel ashamed that you are going through it. You will get through it. I'm getting through it slowly, but I am. And I can tell you that you will get through it too. And like I always say, if you are going through something, I am here for you. I hope this video enlightened some of you on mental disorders that children and young adults have or are going through. And I hope it enlightened you on anxiety and panic disorders as well. If you liked this video, if you liked hearing about what I go through with my panic disorder and my anxiety disorder or whatever, please let me know in the comments, and I will be willing to talk about it more and share more about what I have gone through. This second video, like the last video I did, is also for my semester project for my psychology class, and I just want to shout out to my teacher, Miss Dixion. You sent me an email about my first video saying that it was great, and that you thought it was awesome that I decided to do a vlog, because most students in your class don't normally choose to do that. And I just want to say thank you very much, because this is not easy for me to talk about, but I'm glad that I did it. So thank you very much, Miss Dixion, and I hope you guys all stay wonderful and have a wonderful Tuesday and stay fantastic.